Today we are talking about Peter, Petre, whatever you want to call him. We are talking about the former Bantamweight champion, Petr Yan, as he just ended the year fighting Davidson Figueiredo in a fight that is considered, honestly, one of the better fights of the year. But I feel like this fight really does say something in the division of the 135s, where if all the cards are played right, I think it is a very strong possibility that Petr Yan is the champion once again at the end of 2025. And let me explain. I understand that against Merab, it was not the greatest fight that we've ever seen from Petr Yan. I mean, in a 5-round atmosphere, I think Merab versus Petr is one of the worst stylistic matchups for a guy like Petr Yan. Let me explain why. Now, I want to talk about Petr Yan's stance first. This boxing-heavy stance that we are seeing, where he is probing that lead hand. He constantly has it out there, and he's constantly making his reads with that lead hand, whether it's against Figgy when he started reading with the left hook to the uppercut, or whether it's against guys like Song Yadong or Corey Sandhagen. This lead hand is always out there, and it's always used as a way to measure and read opponents' movements and feints to that obvious lead hand of Petr Yan that is deadly. It is a great way to set up his rear hand. That is what his lead hand is there for. And let's just talk about his striking in general. I mean, he has very technical boxing. Everything is measured. Everything is not overthrown. Everything is being put out through a perfect lens where it's straight, it is accurate, it is powerful. It is not making him unbalanced. It is honestly just perfect striking from Petr Yan. And he uses his kicks very well as well, not just his boxing. A lot of his kicks are made to disrupt rhythm, like body kicks. He was throwing that a lot against Figueiredo because body kicks are something that aren't really able to... it's kind of a free square when you're throwing the strike, because it's very hard for that person to get to your head. It is very difficult to even avoid a body kick other than just blocking it, and most of the times you're blocking with two hands. So if you really think about it, it is kind of a free strike, and it disrupts a lot of people's rhythms, and it disrupted Figgy's rhythm against Petr Yan because that body kick was landing, and it was very difficult to get away from it. Now, just because he's very technical does not mean he isn't creative. He has thrown a lot of unconventional stuff here and there, but it's all masked with great combinations, or honestly just very creative stuff that people aren't expecting. Whether it's the Figgy takedown that he got at the end of round 1 or 2, I'm trying to remember that one, or it is just the spinning wheel kick with the lead hook combo that he hit on Corey Sandhagen. It is always a very creative sort of combo style that is Petr Yan's game. Now, I will say this, and I don't care if it's a hot take, I don't care what anyone says. I think in a 5-round affair, it is almost impossible to beat a guy like Petr Yan if your name is not Merab Dvalishvili. Have people done it before? Yes. Aljamain has done it. Merab has done it. We have seen people beat Yan in a 5-round affair. But it is such a difficult task without the sakes of having that overwhelming high wrestling game or having a gas tank like Merab. It is very difficult to beat Yan in a 5-round affair, and we kind of saw it against Figgy. Figgy is no slouch. He is very talented, especially in this 135 division. But Yan in a 5-round affair is just such a tough cookie. It is such a difficult fight because he is overwhelming. He has so much time in his hands. And that's the main issue of a 5-round fight with Yan, is the fact that he has so much time to figure you out. Now, there is some ways you can get away from this sort of figuring out, or Yan, what is called downloading data. And it could be what Merab did. What did Merab do? He just constantly shot. He never let Yan get his offense going. He just constantly made him defend, which is such a hard thing to do for 25 minutes to shoot. I'm pretty sure it was over 30 takedowns in a 25-minute affair and have success in all 30, or not in all 30, but have success in all of them in terms of slowing down the time for Yan not to get those movements going. Or against Aljamain Sterling, where he was just able to get that back very easily. He exposed a game of Yan at the time where he just gave up his back like a regular US wrestler. We have seen a lot of progress, and we've seen a lot of advantages that Yan has been able to use from his mistakes. And against Song Yadong, who is a very tough person in this 135 in terms of pure striking, and honestly just trying to get the man out. He has a chin made of solid steel, and he's constantly moving forward. Yan was able to figure him out. And that was only in a 3-round fight. In a 5-round fight, the way the fight IQ that Yan operates in is a very tough fight against these 135ers that aren't just constantly pressing the action like Merab. Yan's ability to control the pace, whether it's from that lead hand that's slowing things down, or it's from the combos that Yan is throwing that is so accurate, has the ability to slow down the fight or hasten the fight up, have it in a quick succession. I don't know if anyone remembers, before Yan had the title, this guy was an absolute marauder in this 135 division. He was moving forward constantly, landing perfect kickboxing techniques. His distance management was, it was one of the best we've ever seen. He was always out of the way, but he was just close enough to you to land the perfect counter shots. But this guy never backed up. This guy was constantly moving forward, almost like Oliveira, and just never stopping in his tracks. Now, we have seen people take him down. He does have some spotty moments on the ground, but he is always a very tough matchup in terms of pure wrestling. His wrestling is no slouch. He can take people down himself. He can also reverse. We've seen that a lot, and honestly, although Merab did it for 25 minutes, can we just appreciate the fact that, Yan was still in it and was constantly defending? And listen, Merab shot around 50 times, and the fact that it only was a certain amount of percentage, it is a good takedown defense that Yan does have. I think he is very capable of wrestling with these high-level people to at least get away from them and avoid them and keep it standing. And I think one of the more underestimating things of Yan's game is that cardio of his. This guy is going through these 25-minute fights, and in the 4th and 5th rounds is picking up the pace quicker than we've ever seen. I think that also tells you how tough the guy is as well, because after all the hard shots and the endurance or the ability of being taken down, he always finishes the fights very strong. He's always finishing the fights with, honestly, on the winning side. Petr Yan is a guy that is in the 135 division where I think he favors very well against a guy like Umar. In a 25-minute affair, I think Umar can have an ability to be lulled by the pace of Yan and start getting tagged a little bit. And of the making of this recording, Umar and Merab are about to fight, and say Umar walks out of that, who do you really give next? You could give O'Malley for Umar and O'Malley, but I think O'Malley needs another win. I think Yan needs another one. So it is very close of what we're seeing, but we could see Yan in a title fight against Umar, or Yan in another title fight against Merab, where he could maybe figure out Merab. He had 25 minutes in there with Merab. I don't see why he can not figure out Merab. Overall, I think Petr Yan is one of the more complete fighters in MMA, excelling in almost every single genre of MMA. His combination of technical skills with technical boxing and a cardio for days has him as a kind of a nightmare in this 135 division for certain people. And it's funny because even though he's Russian, a lot of people are behind him. Even Americans, they want to see this man win because of how entertaining he is. And honestly, how comical the guy is. He is a very funny guy when you get his translation or when you hear the English version of what he was saying. He is honestly elite at the sport and is someone that if he climbs all the way to the top, I don't think a lot of people would be too upset by it. Let me know in the comments if you think Yan could win the 135 belt again. Let me know if you think he's just a top 10 guy. Overall, I love seeing his MMA and I love just seeing his work. It's been Santi. It's been Studs.